tried to make a presentation keeping in view all these sustainable development goals and plus position of India on all those goals. So I think it would help you people to understand the condition of India on different scales, not only on economic front, but different human development indexes. Even environment is part of the sustainable development goals. So let's start with these goals. As you must be seeing, there are 17 goals, and we have to achieve these goals by 2030. So it means we have 10 years to achieve the targets. Before these sustainable development goals, we had millennium development goals. Earlier, the target was 2015. We had to achieve so many things till 2015, but many countries could not achieve those targets. The target was set for 2020. Then finally, United Nations decided it's better to have a new goals rather than keeping the new dates for achieving Millennium Development Goals. So that's why we have now these 17 goals which we need to achieve by 2030. First goal is, I'm just naming all these goals. After that, we will discuss it one by one. Not in one lecture. We cannot discuss all the 17 goals in one lecture. So today we will try to cover at least 7 goals, and then after tomorrow we will cover another 7, and let us see how in 2-3 lectures we would be able to understand these goals. And it is not only these goals, we will be discussing it in Indian perspective. So it would be little boring. So be ready for a boring lecture, because in this lecture we will find so many data, and it is very hard to consume data. So our mind is not ready to get all those data in. So slowly and slowly we will try, and this will be with you. This presentation will be with you, so you can refer to it in future also. So first goal is no poverty, second is no hunger, good health, fourth is quality education, fifth is gender equality, sixth is clean water and sanitation, seventh is renewable energy, eighth is good jobs and economic growth, then innovation and infrastructure, then reduce inequalities of all forms. I mean, in fifth goal, it is a gender related, gender equality, but in 10th goals, we have to reduce all forms of inequalities, which is done on the basis of race, sex, or religion. All these kind of inequalities should be reduced. Then 11th goal is sustainable cities and communities. Then 12th is responsible consumption. 13th is climate action. 14th is life below water. Then 15th is life on land, peace and justice, and finally is partnership for the goals. So I mean, these are our goals. So let us start with first goal. First goal is no poverty, and these are certain targets, some important targets. There are I mean, many other targets also, but I have tried to put important targets here. So first target is to eradicate extreme poverty, currently measured as people living on less than $1.25 a day. It means those people who are earning less than $1.25 a day, that person can be considered as a extreme poor persons, right? So we have to eradicate these kind of poverty. This is a first goal by 2030. All these goals have to be achieved by 2030. Second is reduce at least by half poverty in all its dimensions according to national definitions. Why national definition? Because each country has different definition about poverty. So whatever definition you have, for example, see India, if India consider that those people who earn less than 45 rupees per day, those persons can be considered as extreme poor. It's okay. Go by your national definition. But whatever the definition is, you have to reduce the poor people by half from the current data. I mean, if 2020, if there are 100 people are extreme poor, then by 2030 it should be 50. So this is the second goal. Third is ensure that the poor and the vulnerable have equal rights to economic resources, access to basic services, ownership and control over land and other forms of property, inheritance, natural resources, appropriate new technology, and financial services, including microfinance. So, I mean, it is not only that you have to eradicate poverty, but you have, and you have to take care of vulnerable class. Who are vulnerable? Vulnerable class are old people, children, women, downtrodden classes of our society. So you have to take care of those vulnerable class, and you have to ensure that equal rights to economic resources and all the basic services related to ownership. Ownership means that they must have their own land, or if they are working in a factory, then they must be a part of that ownership. So these are and then control over land, property, natural resources should be there for them, equal distribution should be there. So all these kind of things are in this goal to achieve no poverty by 2030. Now see Indian condition. About 60% of India's nearly 1.3 billion people live in less than 3.10 a day, the World Bank's median poverty line. See, I mean, each country now, United Nations have also increased the poverty line. Now it is 1.90, and we are considering it by $1.25. But now even United Nations has raised the parameter, and now it is 1.90. World Bank has 3.10. 3.10, I mean, if you convert it in rupees, it becomes at least 250 rupees per day. So according to this, if it means 60% of India's population are living under $3.10 a day. It means 60% of population in our country is not earning 250 rupees per day. Now think, I mean, 250 per rupees means how much it becomes in a month? It is around 10,000 per month or 9,000 per month. Right. So 9,000 per month salary. Only 40% of our population earn 9,000 and more salary in a month. So this is the condition, and 21% or more than 250 million people survive on less than $1.25 a day, which is in this Sustainable Development Goals parameter. So at least we can, if we don't want to consider 60% or $3.10 a day, then consider $1.25 a day, and at least this is acceptable in India. Even Indian government accept this data, that 21% of our population is living under extreme poverty. Now this is the first thing we have to understand, that how can we eradicate poverty by 2030. Now second important point is the richest 10% in India controls 80% of the nation's wealth. Now second, if you understand the second goal, third goal under no poverty, where it is, it talks about equal distribution of resources and all those things, then see how, inequal distribution in our country, that 10% of India's population control 80% of the nation's wealth. According to 2017 report published by Oxfam. Oxfam is an international confederation agencies who is fighting for poverty, and the top 1% owns 58% of India's wealth. Top 1% means Tata, Ambani, and all those billionaires. These 1% people owns 58% of India's wealth. So India has, what does it mean? It means that India has to work very hard in achieving this target. Current status is that, I have discussed in earlier lectures also that after 1991, when we adopted new economic policy, after that we will find that we are in a condition of jobless growth. India is growing, but there is no job. So we have to change all this scenario. Then only we will be able to achieve no poverty goal by 2030. But we have some positive points also. What is the positive point? In the decade between 2005 and 16, in 10 years, India lifted 27 crore people out of extreme poverty, more than the combined population of Congo, Uganda, Iraq, Venezuela, Australia, and Italy. So India is doing well in this sector. We are trying hard, but yes, we have to do a lot more to achieve the first target. So this is the first sustainable development goal. Now second is zero hunger. And what are the targets? First is end hunger and ensure access by all people, in particular the poor and people in vulnerable situations, including infants, to save nutritious and sufficient food all years round. So basically, access to food should be there. For every person should have food. So then only we will be able to end hunger. And a special mention of infants, because India is a country where our children under 5 are malnourished. So that's why, and even not only India, even this is the condition of poor countries, whole Africa, South Asian countries. This is the condition where a child under 15, child under 5 are malnourished. So that's why, this is a special mention of infants. So this is the first target. Now second is, and all forms of malnutrition. Okay, second talks about malnutrition. Third, double the agricultural productivity and incomes of small-scale food producers. It means agricultural productivity should be doubled. How will you do it? It's by land reforms, by providing them good quality seeds. Strengthening infrastructure related to agriculture. All these things should be done. Then only we will be able to double the agricultural productivity of our land. So this is the third goal. Why it is so? Because in all poor countries you will find, including India, that majority of population are dependent on agriculture. So if agriculture sector will strengthen, then surely people dependent on that sector will be strengthened, and then obviously it will help us to eradicate hunger. So that's why special focus on agriculture sector. Fourth is secure and equal access to land, other productive resources and inputs, knowledge, financial services, markets, opportunities for value addition and non-farm employment. So everything they must have access to information, knowledge, all the financial services. If they want loan, if they want any special services, market should be accessible to them. Opportunities for value addition. If they want to add certain values to their product, then that facility should be there. For example, in India, you will find that there is a lack of food processing unit. We buy, tomato puree, every household, it is an essential commodity. But all these products are not made in India. And in the season of tomatoes, we find that tons of tomatoes are thrown on roads. So this is the condition. If the farmers have this opportunity to value addition, this is written here, then they will be able to sell their tomatoes to that food processing unit, and then you can get tomato purees, ketchups made in India. All this, we can get these made in India products. So these are certain targets. Some facts related to this goal too is then an estimated 26.4% of the world population about 2 billion persons were affected by moderate or severe food insecurity. Now understand, the total population of world is around 7 billion. And out of that, 2 billion people are in food insecurity. So, I mean, this is a bad condition. And 21.3% of children under 5 of age suffering from chronic undernutrition. I understand. And this is the condition. And that's why we have to work in this area. Now, so come to the Indian condition. Now, India is ranked 102 of 117 countries in the Global Hunger Index 2019. I need not to say anything. You can see that out of 170 countries, 17 countries, India ranked very poor. I mean, 102. I mean, it is below. The ranking. And it is behind its neighbors, Nepal, Pakistan, Bangladesh. Even all these countries are above India's ranking. It means these countries have greater food security than India's. In 2018, India was ranked 103 out of 119 countries. In 2000, the country was ranked 83 out of 113 countries. Now, with 117 countries in the fray, it has dropped to 103. So we have performed very badly. And this is again important point. India child wasting rate is extremely high at 20.8%, the highest for any country in this report. It means malnutrition, the numbers of malnourished child in India is extremely very high, and it is near to world rate. World rate is 21.3%, and Indian malnourished children rate is 20.8%. So see, and I mean, we have grains. Our granary are full of grains, but we lack, I mean, how to provide that grains to the common people, and so that they have food security. So earlier we had a food distribution system, but now focus is not on that. Even in this pandemic situation, that food distribution system was again channelized. Let us see if government put focus on this little more, and then we can improve our ranking in food, I mean, world hunger, global hunger index. So this is the second. Here also, Indian condition is little bad, and we have to do a lot more. Now, third, good health and well-being. In this, there are many other targets also, but I have put only 3 targets which are important for Indian scenario. That first is reduce the global maternal mortality ratio to less than 70 per 1 lakh live births. It means mothers who die during giving birth to child, I mean, that rate should be reduced to 70. Second target is to reduce neonatal mortality to at least as low as 12 per 1,000 live births. Neonatal mortality means during birth, I mean, the child who die during birth, this should be decreased to 12 per 1,000 live births. And under 5 mortality rate, those children who die under 5, that rate should be low as 25 per 1,000 live births. These are targets. Third target is end the epidemics of AIDS, tuberculosis, malaria, and neglected tropical diseases, and combat hepatitis, waterborne diseases, and other communicable diseases. It is about diseases, and AIDS, tuberculosis, malaria, all these are very much prevalent in India also. So these 3 targets are really important for India. Now see the condition. At present, maternal mortality ratio for India is 130. Not very bad. we have to reduce it by 70. So it is achievable, and in this area, India has really done well. So this is the first thing. Second, NMR. NMR means neonatal mortality rate that has gone down to 23.5 per thousand live births in 2017 from 38. So here also we have done well because we have to achieve target. We have to come down to 12. Now in 2018 we were at 23.5. So it is also achievable by 2030. Under 5 mortality rate in India decreased from 83.1 in 2000 to 42.4 per thousand live births in 2017. So now it is 42, around 42. Again, it is also achievable because we have to come down to 25 per thousand live births. India has the third largest HIV epidemic in the world. This is the area of concern, with 2.1 million people living with HIV. So this is the first thing which we have to deal with, which is really a matter of concern. Then in 2019, the Central TB Division could reach 24 lakh TB patients as against an estimated 26.90 lakh patients in the country. So here also numbers are decreasing. But yes, and even our India targets, which is Indian Health Minister has said that we will eradicate TB by 2025. So we are on right path. We have already achieved. We have already eradicated polio from our country. Now next target is to eradicate tuberculosis. Let's hope that we will be able to do that. In coming years, we will see it. India is responsible for the large majority of malaria cases in Southeast Asia, with 6.7 million cases. World Malaria Report 2019. So here also, because India is a tropical country, and that's why malaria-borne these kind of diseases, which are mosquitoes borne, and all these kind of things, which are very high in India. So here we have to work very hard because after Africa, in Southeast Asia, we are the single largest country who have largest malaria cases in our country. So on malaria, on tuberculosis, on HIV, we have to work hard, and on maternal mortality ratio, on NMR and U5MR, we have done well. So mixed achievement, some good achievement, but some where we have to work hard. So this is the third goal. Fourth is quality education. In quality education, there are 5 primary targets. First is to ensure that all complete, free, equitable, and equality primary and secondary education. Now, quality education does not mean primary education. You know, I mean, earlier, even in our constitution, we have amended our constitution, and we have made primary education as fundamental right. But now we will see that sustainable development goal is not talking about only primary education. It has also included now secondary education. This is the first thing which you must understand. Second target is ensure that all girls and boys have access to quality early childhood development care and pre-primary education. You know, this is the new thing, pre-primary education. In our country, there are Anganwadis, and that's why you will find that in our new education policy, they have included Anganwadis also as pre-primary education. Education providing mechanism through Anganwadis also. Before that, Anganwadis was just to provide some food, some health-related thing was there. So minimum nutrition-based thing was in focus in Anganwadis, but now education is also in focus. Now, third target is to ensure equal access for all women and men to affordable and quality technical, vocational, tertiary education, including university. So all from, if any women or men, they want any kind of education, they must get that chance. Fourth is substantially increase the number of youth and adults who have relevant skills, including technical and vocational skills for employment, decent jobs, and entrepreneurship. Fifth is eliminate gender disparities in education and ensure equal access to all levels of education. So these are all we know. I mean, the focus is on technical education, focus is on jobs, focus is on employment, focus is on equality, focus is on pre-primary to secondary education, university till university level education. So I mean, this is a very comprehensive education related targets. So if we achieve these targets, then surely not only our population will get education, but our population will also get jobs, and they can be entrepreneur also. So these are goal 4. Now, Indian condition, the overall literacy rate in India is 74, we know. And in 2021, we will have another census. Then we will see that how much rate. This is a 2011 data. So, I mean, this is the literacy rate. The number includes the literacy rate in both rural and urban India. The number pertain to 2014. It is not 14 basically, because 2011 during census this rate has come, but in some reports it is said that till 2014 rate was the same. This kind of reports I have read. That's why I have written 2014. Now, second is the overall literacy rate in rural India is 64.7%. In rural India, the literacy rate among females is 56.8% and among males is 72.3%. Here, you will find the gap is more. There is almost, I think, 15% gap between females and male education. So, I mean, this gap should be filled in coming years. Third is the overall literacy rate in urban India is 79.5%. In urban India, 74.8% females are literate, whereas 83.7% males are literate. So here you will find that it is only 9% gap. So in rural India, a gap is little big. So gender equality, which is already written in third point, that there must be equality in providing educational facilities. We have to work on that also. And not only education, but also providing jobs, providing them opportunities to set up their own businesses, providing them technical education, vocational education. So all in these areas, India has to work. In new education policy, you will find that all these things are incorporated. And obviously, if you see the Indian policies, you will see that all these policies target to achieve sustainable development goals. All these policies, because ultimately these rankings are very important. This gives a picture of your country to the world. So that's why any government is very much focused on achieving the targets set up by UN. So that's why even in every policy you will find that somewhere a sustainable development goal is in mind. So these are the goal 4 and Indian condition. Now goal 5, gender equality. Goal 5 says end all forms of discrimination. Second is eliminate all forms of violence in the public and private spheres, including trafficking, sexual and other types of exploitation. Third is eliminate all harmful practices such as child marriage, early and forced marriage, female genital mutilation. This is third goal. Fourth is recognize and value unpaid care and domestic work. In India, you must be aware that female who are homemakers, who live in households, they do household works. This is kind of unpaid work, and they are not acknowledged properly. So this is the time to recognize their work. If they are taking care of the household, those works are not less important. Those are also very important, and we must recognize those works. So this is the target how to make people understand that household work is also important. Now, fifth is ensure women's full and effective participation and equal opportunities for leadership at all levels. It means in parliament, in legislatives, in panchayats, everywhere, women should be given a proper participation. Sixth is enhance the use of enabling technology, in particular information and communication technology, to promote the empowerment of women. Means women should have all these communication facilities, technological facilities, to make them more empowered. Now, if you see the data, world data related to this fifth goal, you will find that women represents 25% in national parliament. It is the data of all over the world. If we see the data, and if we add all the parliamentarian of world, we find that only 25% seats are for women. Women represent only 25%, and 36% in local government, Panchayati Raj and all those kind of systems. They represent only 36%. Now, see, I mean, how much work we have. And if we see the Indian condition, in India, you will find that in parliament, and there are 14% women representation, very less. They are 50% of our population, and they represent only 14%. So that's why government, so many times government tried to post women reservation, 35% should be reserved for women, but it has not been passed yet. Let us see in coming times if it is passed and we find more women in parliament. So this is world data. And second most, another important point is that women spend about 3 times as many hours in unpaid domestic and care work than men. Now understand, women do 3 times more work. Those works which we don't consider important, if we consider them as work, then they are doing 3 times more work than men. And this is unrecognized. So this must be recognized, and these are certain things which we need to understand. And in my classes, so many times I used to say to boys that how many times have you asked a glass of water from your father? How many times you have asked a glass of water? How many girls have asked a glass of water from their brothers? It doesn't happen basically. Whenever you need a water, you need water. Whenever you need food, you always look for your sisters. You always look for your mothers, right? So, and they do so much, but they are not recognized. This is bad. So this condition should be changed. Indian position, you see, according to United Nations Human Development Report, India is ranked 130 out of 155 countries on the Gender Inequality Index. Nothing to say. Here also, we are not doing well. The gender index takes into account reproductive health, empowerment, and economic activity. All these things are taken into account while calculating GII, Gender Inequality Index. So here India's rank is 130. Even we are below Pakistan and Bangladesh also. Pakistan rank is 121 and Bangladesh rank is 111. So this is also area of concern. India has slipped 4 places on the World Economic Forum's Global Gender Gap Index to 112 behind neighbors China, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Bangladesh. This is another index, which is the Gender Gap Index, which is brought up by World Economic Forum. So this is due to rising disparity in terms of women's health and participation in the economy. And India is now ranked in the bottom 5. India is in bottom 5. So gender inequality, gender disparity, India has to work very hard. And my lecture here. And if you have any question, you can ask me.